We're all very fortunate to play in a special place here in Chicago, and we're all so excited about what just happened. And the best part about winning this championship, we get to share it with you, our fans.
The Blackhawks party that kicked off the weekend still going strong tonight, but a few less players involved. As we welcome you into the final word, I am your hostess, Deon Miller. Happy to be joined by Barry Rosner of The Score and the Daily Herald on a hockey-heavy night. I hope you brought your muscles for some heavy lifting. A lot to talk about today.
Always. What a wild day, wild week. You know, I'd just like to thank the city of Boston, but I can't because the city closes at 2 o'clock. And that's what time I left the rink last Monday night. I'd just like to say for a big city, that's unbelievable.
Well, I hope that you've recovered.
I couldn't get a beverage.
Well, that's a shame.
I mean, the season was over. I was done working.
You were celebrating.
Yeah.
I'm assuming at this point you have had.
Yes, I've since remedied the situation, and we're fine now.
All right, we'll save any further beverages for after the show.
If you insist.
All right, 2 trades, 5 picks, freeing up nearly $6 million. That's what Blackhawks GM Stan Bowman did on draft day, all to make room for the biggest deal of the day, signing left winger Brian Bickell to a 4-year deal worth $16 million. Now, Barry, this seemed like a no-brainer after Bickell finished second on the team with 9 goals in the postseason and was willing to take the hometown discount to stick around.
Yeah, I was surprised that it was a little bit more. I mean, I thought maybe they'd get him for $3 million. $4 million is a lot of money for Brian Bickell, but you can't teach size. This is a team with very little size, and this is something that they really felt like they had no choice but to do.
Yeah, he made only $600,000 last season. He was going to get paid. Fans certainly glad it's the Blackhawks who'll be paying him. Chicago's become his second home. He's thrilled to be here, but it did come with a price tag. Blackhawks trading center Dave Bolland to Toronto for 3 draft picks, 2 additional ones today, 1 next year. Bolland just scored the biggest goal in his career, winning the Cup on Monday. Now, 2 days after the parade, he's gone. Are you surprised?
Here's your hat. What's your hurry? Yeah. They really didn't have any choice. I mean, Bolland was probably gone regardless of what was going to happen because they needed to save his $3.4 million. And they also didn't have any. They didn't have a second or a third because of the Johnny Oduya deal last year. So I'm not terribly surprised that Bolland's gone, and I think they were fortunate to get what they got, actually.
Yeah, he was set to make over $3 million. He tweeted thanks to Chicago for the memories, but he's excited to wear his hometown sweater in Toronto.
It's a nice deal for him.
I think so. Meantime, the day also cost the Blackhawks Michael Frolik. They traded him to Winnipeg for 2 additional picks this afternoon. Frolik arrived via trade 2 seasons ago. He had 1 year left on his 3-year deal. He scored 10 points in the postseason. It became the first player in NHL history with 2 penalty kill goals.
Penalty shot goals,
Penalty shot goals in the playoffs. So, are you surprised by that move?
Well, I mean, I didn't know specifically Frolik would be gone, but I knew some of their 4th-line guys had to go. So now they've given up 2 4th-line guys in Dave Bolland and Michael Frolik. And while that one may have been a surprise, you're talking about another $2.3 million in cap space. So if you wanted Brian Bickell, you're going to have to make some concessions. They've got $9 million left right now under the cap. They've still got to sign Nick Leddy. They've still got to get a couple of other guys done. They need a couple defensemen, and you know there's still work to be done. Plus next year, Corey Crawford's going to be up, and Nick Hjalmarsson's going to be up. So this is part of the salary cap world we live in.
But the work they did today added 7 draft picks is what they added today, and you mentioned they have just over $9 million under the salary cap left. Someone tweeted this is hockey's version of Moneyball, and Bowman's doing it right.
Right. Well, this has to be done. I mean, you have to make these moves if you're gonna stay under the cap, and you have to get draft picks. Like I said, they gave up a couple last year for Johnny Oduya. They gave up 1 for Michael Rozabal. So these moves had to be made, and you know, it's not really surprising. Considering what they had to do in 2010, this is really not that big a deal.
Talk about homegrown talent. They proved that today, drafting Ryan Hartman of West Dundee with the 30th overall pick. He's a lifelong Hawks fan. Taves is his favorite player, described as the #1 agitator in the draft, Barry. What do you know about him?
I'm surprised Andrew Shaw is not his favorite player, because he's a super pest. He's like Brad Marchand and Jonathan Chichu and Andrew Shaw all rolled into one.
Wow.
But, yeah, he's a major pain on the ice, but he's got some offensive upside. and we'll see based on what kind of a role the Hawks give him, what kind of an offensive upside he'll have. But the thing is you rarely draft in the first round for a guy you think's going to be in your bottom 6 of your forward lines. And that's where this guy projects. So they must think he's not only going to make it, but probably make it fairly soon.
That was pain on the ice, right, is what you said?
Yes.
I'm just clearing it up. Our Blackhawks blogger, Allison Maglia, will keep you on the ice all summer with our Blackhawks blog on the Blackhawks. It's on the sports section of our website at myfoxchicago.com. Let's take a look at our Menards Blackhawks notebook. Now, the Hawks are the first team to win 2 cups during the salary cap era, but it's been 15 years since any team has won back-to-back NHL championships. Detroit, the last team to do it. Before that, Pittsburgh and Edmonton, the Islanders and Montreal, of course, dynasties of the 70s and 80s. If the core remains intact, Barry, and they continue to develop through the minors as they have done, are the Hawks automatically the favorite for next year?
No, I wouldn't make them the favorite for next year. I think probably you're looking at a team like Pittsburgh as a favorite for next year. It's just really difficult to repeat. I don't think you have to worry about them going out in the first round the way that they did in 2011 or 2012. They didn't lose half a team. They're not going to lose half a team this summer the way they did in 2010. So while it's going to be very difficult to repeat, the whole point of this exercise and what Stan Bowman's doing is to make sure that they're not eliminated in the first round and that they are in a position to compete every year. And that's what he's trying to do.
And Bickle even mentioned that he's excited to be a part of that core that's going to get a chance to try to do that. Okay, with that, the season is done, I guess. So we want to hear from you in our Ford poll of the people. With the Blackhawks season basically over at this point, what are you most looking forward to next? Is it the Bears' first game under Mark Trestman, the Blackhawks next season, Derrick Rose return, that's coming, and the end of the Cubs and White Sox season?
I think I know this one.
Do you? Text A, B, C, or D to 36932. The question is also on the Fox Chicago News Facebook page and on the sports section of our website. Vote in the poll. We'll have the results a little bit later on in the show. Now, you just said it. It is very, very difficult to repeat, but obviously the city would be super excited about it. As for the parade on Friday, did you think it was different than 2010? Was it a different feeling?
Well, I think it was a little bit more reserved, maybe not for Corey Crawford or Andrew Shaw, but yeah, I think it was a little bit more reserved. I mean, the good news is I think people are getting used to this a little bit.
Yeah.
So a fabulous celebration for the city, a fabulous celebration for the Blackhawks, but I think it's good that people start to get used to the idea that you should win Stanley Cups around here. Boy, it's hard to believe. We're talking about the Blackhawks
I know,
like that.
Isn't that crazy?
Just think back a few years to how miserable this was.
You know, I don't think, though, that as many times as it happens, perhaps they'll be in the running to compete again next year, but it just never gets old.
No.
That stuff just never gets old, and I feel like the city's been smiling ever since. Okay, now hockey is done, and it's officially summer, at least for, what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, when do the Bears open camp? How many days?
We'll get
About
to that, but it does
days,
mean baseball.
Like,
and in
no,
case,
you don't have to.
Yes, in case you're not paying attention, Chris Sale has been the best part of the White Sox staff. Okay, Barry?
All right.
But his teammates not exactly supportive. We'll prove it to you again after the break. Meantime, Carlos Marmol is gone, and the Cubs bullpen still struggling to hang on to leads. Today, trying to hang on and win the series in Seattle. And later, the Bulls got what they needed in the draft, shooters. But as free agency begins tonight, who's staying, who's going, we'll rant and rave about it. You're watching, so clearly you like us, but we want you to prove it. So like us on Facebook, please. Just search Fox Chicago News, click like, and you may just get a shout out on the news. So like us, watch us, everybody wins. It has been 65 years since the Cleveland Indians swept a series against the White Sox at Comiskey Field or the Cell, and they've never done it in a 4-game series. So with Chris Sale on the mound today, no way the Sox get swept, right?
No.
Sale hasn't won a game since May 17th, and it's not for a lack of effort. Coming into today, 43 strikeouts and 8 walks in his last 5 starts. Sale had it going again today through the 3rd, but with a man on in the 4th, Ryan Rayburn doubles to center, and that puts the Tribe on the board 1-0. Cleveland up 2-0 now in the 5th when Yan Gomez doubles to left. Lonnie Chisenhall would bring home the Tribe's 3rd run with an RBI ground out. And that was enough offense to back Justin Masterson. Absolutely brilliant. Sox hitters just 6 hits this afternoon. Their best chance came in the 7th with runners on 1st and 2nd and nobody out. Alex Rios at the plate. Masterson's so good right now.
I bet this is going to be a 5-4-3 double play.
How about 6-4-3?
It looks like a 5.
You're right. 5-4-3 double play. Masterson pitches his league-leading third shutout of the season, and the Indians sweep the Sox with the 4-0 win. Including today, the Sox offense has only scored 9 runs in support of Sale this month.
You know, you see the stretch that he's been on of strikeouts and you know, getting to 8 innings. It's tough luck. You know, you run into a guy that kind of carves us up, and you know, it's frustrating.
Tell me about it. The Sox have now lost 5 straight to end the month of June, going 8-19. That is a major league worst. Now, a year ago, the White Sox were in first place at this point, and the biggest difference you saw in the lineup, A.J. Pierzynski, Kevin Youkilis, a healthy Paul Konerko. Sale is doing his part.
Yeah.
What has gone horribly wrong here?
Chris Sale is second among American League starters in wins above replacement. I mean, that's how good he's been. He could start the All-Star game. If Buchholz is still hurt, Chris Sale could start the All-Star game, and yet his record is dreadful because this team can't hit. And what's the difference, Dion? Nobody's hitting. Absolutely nobody's hitting. Obviously, Konerko's not healthy. It's not A.J. I mean, A.J.'s not doing much in Texas either. That's not the problem. This is just a team that from top to bottom can't hit to save their lives, and it's unfortunate because the pitching's actually been pretty good this year.
So what do they do to try to get something going, some momentum going as we go into July?
There's nothing to be done here. It's a fire sale, no pun intended. Everybody's available except Chris Sale and except for Paul Konerko, and that's only because Paul Konerko probably doesn't want to go anywhere at this point. If he chooses to, then he'll be up for sale as well. But it's just a question of how many players they can move, what they can get for them, and what kind of value they can find on the market. And they do have some very valuable guys like Jesse Crane and Matt Thornton and Matt Lidstrom and maybe Alex Rios, maybe Gordon Beckham, who knows. They'll be selling everybody, Dion, and there's really nothing to be done at this point about it.
The only good news to come out of the South Side today, Paul Konerko said he could have played, but Robin Ventura wanting him to wait until Tuesday, so that's good news. He doesn't look like he's headed towards the disabled list. We'll keep our fingers crossed that that actually means good things. Okay, well, the Cubs are actually on the upswing, winners of 4 of their last 6, but the offense took a hit when Ryan Sweeney ran into the outfield wall in Seattle Saturday, fracturing a rib, sidelining him 4 to 6 weeks. Sweeney led the team with a .295 batting average.
It's too bad. He was proving he belonged to.
I know. Cubs coverage brought to you tonight by Xfinity. The Northsiders somehow found some offense without him in Seattle today, tied their season high by hitting 6 doubles, Barry, including 4 in the second inning. Alfonso Soriano and Anthony Rizzo led off the inning with back-to-back 2-baggers, and with 1 out, Brian Bogusevic and Darwin Barney had consecutive RBI doubles.
Good.
I'll get it. I know. We're midway through the season, right? Cubs up 7-1 after 4, backing Edwin Jackson, who did his part to make sure they'd get the win.
Yes,
How often have we said that? Jackson went 6 innings, giving up 3 earned, striking out 6. And then the bullpen took over.
Okay, relax. There's no Carlos Marmol.
There's no Carlos Marmol, but everybody's sweating after Raul Ibanez led off the 8th with a solo shot to cut the lead to 7-4. Then after giving up a single to Kendry Morales, the Mariners' Kyle Seager broke an 0-for-19 slump with a 2-run jack. Are you kidding me?
No.
It's a 1-run game.
Yes.
But never fail, Kevin Gregg, coming off his first blown save, able to lock it down in the 9th with a flawless 3 outs.
There's a guy you could trade right there, Kevin Gregg. You might be able to get something.
The better he pitches, that's for sure.
That's
Cubs
right.
hang on to win it 7-6. Well, you just mentioned it. They've now won 4 of their last 5 series. Does that mean there will be even more movement on the north side as we head into these final weeks before the trade deadline?
I'm not so sure that changes anything, really. I mean, they're going to be trying to move whatever pieces that they can. Kevin Gregg is one of those guys. Alfonso Soriano said the oddest thing yesterday. He said that he's been hearing these rumors for a couple of years now and nothing's happened, so he doesn't know what to think. Well, he has a no-trade clause, so if he decides to leave, then maybe they can move him. But until he decides he's ready to leave, they can't do anything. So that was one of the strangest things from Alfonso Soriano, who has a history of saying strange things. Yes.
Is he unaware of the no-trade clause?
I don't know what he's aware of and what he isn't, honestly.
All right.
It's baffling to me.
Did you hear that?
What?
Pete McMurray is here.
Yeah?
That means
is that what that
it's
was?
time for Rand Rape. Yeah, I know.
hear music.
You had to listen really closely.
I hear Star-Spangled
What
Music.
are you guys looking forward to most now that the Hawks are done? Bears, D-Rose, more Hawks, or the end of baseball? We'll put them on the clock after the break. In the meantime, vote in our poll, will you?